Schönen guten Morgen und herzlich willkommen zur IT-Security Cyber Lounge. Mein Name ist Claudia Marx und ich bin bei LSZ für die IT-Security und für die Talents for IT-Future-Formate verantwortlich und freue mich sehr, Sie heute alle hier begrüßen zu dürfen. Was erwartet Sie im Rahmen unserer Online-Formate? Auch hier bringen wir natürlich Menschen zusammen, wie wir es auf unseren physischen Events auch tun. Wir schaffen Future Connections. Wir bereiten aktuelle Themen für Sie vor, Tech Talks, IT-Security-Trends. Wir haben Community News. Und auch hier legen wir sehr viel Wert auf Interaktivität. Das heißt, auf der rechten Seite Ihres Bildschirms finden Sie ein Bedienpanel. Das können Sie ausklappen und uns während der gesamten Zeit des Webinars Ihre Fragen schicken. Diese werden teilweise während des Webinars aufgegriffen oder am Ende, beziehungsweise was sich zeitlich nicht ausgeht, beantworten die Experten heute natürlich auch direkt bei Ihnen, nehmen direkt Kontakt auf und beantworten das nach dem Webinar. Das Webinar wird aufgezeichnet und nach dem Webinar bekommen Sie alle Unterlagen sowie auch die Aufzeichnung zugeschickt. Ja, heute haben wir ein sehr international besetztes Webinar. Wir haben Experten aus Österreich, aus der Schweiz, aus Brasilien und ich als Deutsche darf dieses Webinar einleiten und anders als sonst darf ich jetzt auch gleich die Einleitung weiter auf Englisch machen und das Thema des heutigen Webinars ankündigen. Das ist PAM and Zero Trust, Rethinking Cloud Security Culture and Mindset. And we are very pleased to open the webinar with an expert talk, and I'm happy to introduce Wolfgang Rosenkrantz. Wolfgang, you are a valued IT expert, team lead of the Austrian National CERT of the Computer Emergency Response Team. The Austrian National CERT is an information hub and reporting point under the NIST directive and plays a central role in coordinating incident response to Austrian and international cyber incidents. And it plays a vital role in bringing together cybersecurity experts from the business world, from public authorities and academia in its Austrian Trust Circle event series. And with NIST 2, the role of the Austrian National CERT will be amplified, and it will be responsible to assist up to 6,000 organizations in case of a cyber attack. So great to have you here, Wolfgang, today for the talk, for the opening talk. And the moderator of today's webinar is Pascal. Hello, Pascal. Pascal Jakober is Sales Director from IC Consult. You have been working since nearly 20 years in the field of identity and access management, and you have supported many companies on their journeys from evaluating to implementation around suitable identity and access management solutions. Well, Wolfgang is located in Austria. Pascal is located in Switzerland. So nearly the world champion in ice hockey, but just very close. So congratulations to the second place. Well, but just saying, by the way, because Austria and Germany, well, we are far away from that. So well done. And IC Consult, you say some words afterwards about IC Consult, your colleagues, and the experts that are doing the webinar with you today. So, but IC Consult is a leading independent consultancy and system integrator and managed service provider for identity and access management. So, but now the stage is yours. I hand the webinar over to the experts. We see us again at the end of the webinar, and enjoy the webinar. See you later. Bye.
Great. Thank you very much, Claudia, for this great introduction. There's not much to say about the details. So before we go into the presentation, thank you again as well, Mr. Rosenkrantz, for joining this today. So one eager question, of course, of people outside the organization, what you represent is, who are your customers? You know, we have ideas, we have statistics, we have customer feedbacks, but you live in the real world, where we live in a world that we understand that things happen, but you got the things on the table. So who are your customers, if that's the question I may ask in that direction, if you can call it customers?
So first of all, thank you very much for the invitation. Our customers are, the spectrum of our customers is very broad. We are, as a national CSERT, responsible for the whole of Austria. Of course, not the whole of Austria is calling us, otherwise this wouldn't be manageable. Usually, we are only talking to larger companies, to critical infrastructure. This results in our role as the reporting site for everything that's under NIS 1. So every company that has to report a cyber incident under NIS1 has to get in contact with us. But we also established quite a reputation as being a neutral consultant when it comes to the cybersecurity incidents. And so a lot of other companies are calling us and are getting in contact with us. But we're also working together with the authorities in Austria. In part, this is because we also play a role in the government cert. And additionally, we are the provider of the Austrian energy cert. There, our customers are only energy companies, but from electricity to gas to everything else around it. This is a closed group, but also critical infrastructure.
Thank you. So, who is the one that you see the most effect, or the most I translate that announcement you receive? Is that every company, or is it where you would distinguish between companies?
As being the contact point for mainly critical infrastructure, we are usually only getting in contact with those companies, which means that we have a little bit of a gap when it comes to smaller companies, really small companies like one-person companies, or smaller companies up to 50 people. From what we see from the larger companies, the interesting thing is, especially when it comes to the NIS1 companies, which have to report larger incidents, that those companies are definitely more secure than the other companies. We see from the reports that we receive, and from our events that we organize, and our discussion groups that we organize, that companies in Austria are definitely under attack, but not as much as in other countries. But those bigger companies who have to report, who have to have audits from which are then again checked by the government, those are more secure. And what we see from discussing this topic with those companies and trying to find out what the difference is, we see that those companies definitely have to prove that they are using up-to-date, best practice techniques and methods to keep their companies safe. Some of those methods are combined in what we call zero trust. And we can definitely see that these methods are working for those companies. If they are, of course, also under attack, but they don't have any incidents after these attacks. This is just daily business for them, and they never have any big incidents.
So I can summarize that the investments this company does have a positive impact. It's not just for fun and because they have to, but the results are that they're not your regular customer, which should be actually the goal to achieve.
Exactly. This is something that's a little tricky when it comes to trying to get budget for cybersecurity. Everybody knows that it's difficult if nothing bad happens to get the money. But of course, if you're looking a little bit deeper into the topic, you always have to invest to make sure that you're cutting edge, that your technology is always upfront, and that your methods and your staff is well trained. Otherwise, this wouldn't work. Otherwise, you would have these big incidents. And we can only by our reports that we receive from the companies, I can more or less prove that this investment pays.
Thank you very much. This was a very good opening speech, Mr. Rosenkranz. Thanks again for joining on a very short notice, and thanks for these valuable insights from your view. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Before we go into the next session, we have an opening question for all of you. So you should see the question by now. What's the expectation of this meeting?
The question is in the chat. You see the question in the chat and just can type your answers in the chat field on the right-hand side under the chat button. You see it. So it will not be shown extra, but just type it in there.
In the meantime, I'm preparing the presentation. Let's give it time as the question comes through. Okay, now let's start. Do quick feedback. Can you see the screen, the presentation mode? Claudia, just from your side, quick.
Yep, everything's fine.
Perfect, thank you. So today, welcome from our side again in the IT Security Cyber Lounge to the topic PAM Zero Trust. We have together here shared this presentation, this webinar with our trusted partner, Segura. So before we're going to have a little introduction on who we are, we do introduce a bit IC Consult, a bit more in detail that Claudia already perfectly did. We have some use cases that we show from a live use cases that we do in the current state with our clients. And then we open the PAM Zero Trust discussion. And at the end, we will have still time for some question and answers. But please do not hesitate to obviously ask in between the presentations. So who are the speakers today? You already met Mr. Wolfgang Rosenkrantz. Myself, I had the introduction perfectly well announced from Claudia, so I don't need to say more about myself. But please, David, just quick introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is David. I'm located in Austria. I'm EM or especially PK PAM consultant for the Austrian team, and I primarily focus on Segura. I'm also the product owner at IC Consult, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Thank you, David. Philippi.
Hello, everyone. So it's a pleasure to be here again. I'm working here at Segura, threat research and cybersecurity advocate of the company. And I have a previous experience in cybersecurity in both sides, let's say, in offensive security, defensive security, and cloud security. So thank you again, Pascal and the whole team. So it's a pleasure again.
Perfect, thank you. So to the first step of our agenda, a few words about IC Consultants and Segura. So ourselves, we've been around since 26 years. We focus purely on identity access management, on-premise or cloud. We focus on the central region, what we call the German-speaking area. That's where we started in Munich. But as you can see, we are now globally all over the world with 850, almost 900 people at the moment. We have offshore and nearshore capabilities where we offer a mixed price of potential consulting days. But we grow where the clients grow. So if you see us in China, it's not because we thought that's going to be nice to work in China. It's because one of our major clients in the area of automotive has been asking us to move with them to China. So therefore, we moved with our clients. This is basically what this map shows. We go with the clients, therefore we grow with the clients since the last 26 years. What's the focus area we're looking at? So we have distinguished 4 different areas where we see a strong growth and strong pattern where we can support. The best is, of course, if you can start at the advisory already at the beginning, business consulting that goes from security announcements, security reviews, health checks, or just is simple assessment of a greenfield approach. After that, based on the assessment, we may have the possibilities to work together again and have the architecture design. But of course, the biggest part is the implementation integration. So with some of the clients, we follow their identity path since 10 years plus as a trusted partner in many different aspects. And also what's equally important, what happens if the implementation majority is over, we do support, we do have the possibility to manage the services in the 24/7 kind of offering, or just when we have major updates that we can skip in and support our clients. What does it mean in detail? It's a bit of a packed slide, but we do unfortunately that much, so the slide has to be this full. And today we're looking at the zero trust areas, but also the cloud security, zero trust and identity centric. It's not a product for us, obviously, it's a program, it's a strategy. And we have the possibilities to work very close with experts from our side and the client side in different areas in different countries to develop a zero trust strategy. It could be in the cloud, is it the on-prem? And of course, we have a lot of PAM, privileged access management knowledge. So you can see here at the moment, we have 30 plus PAM employees around the globe. Grows in that one as well. We have trained people every month on new certificates, new areas. We have all over 100 plus successful projects delivered, mainly in this area again, where we started from, but we grow globally with the successful delivery of PAM product and PAM solutions. Today, we joined forces with our trusted partner called Sena Segura. Sena Segura is as well 23 years on the globe with PAM solutions. The basic came from the Brazilian headquarters, which at the moment is an American holding company, been in Europe for quite some years, very successful, and works with a lot of partners all over the globe, have plus 800 customers in 65 countries, and we have a strong connection with Sena Segura, not because all of those analysts already recognize the strong solution, also because we have successfully implemented the solution with clients in our area here, and we have seen that they deliver what they promise. And this also shows here the review of the Gartner website. The clients are happy with the solution, and it has a strong PAM acknowledgement. And as you see a bit later, they have really innovative features that you may provide in this area of zero trust. Before we jump into use case, there's a poll I would like to have now into the shown again, similar, where you have a multiple choice question on how, there we go. Thank you very much. So just click in between so we got an idea on where you are today.
Can you see the votes already?
Yeah. Perfect, thank you. I can see the feedback. So for all, we have some just started, the majority already in the implementation. So that's interesting. Then you may have a lot of experts here already. That's great feedback. In the middle of innovation, it's number 3, implementation successful done. Already have some. That probably, hopefully, we can get your input at the end. How you successful have you done it, and what your main learnings were. And some of them are just at the beginning as well, haven't dealt with yet. Thank you very much. That's an interesting feedback. So now hand over to David. Yeah, I can see you.
Perfect. All right, so hello everyone again. Today I'm doing a presentation over the use cases that we encountered on our customers. For this presentation, I've selected 2 customers, one really big one and one quite small one, but had interesting use cases. So before we start, I want to go into some benefits that our customer have found, and also we. For the first part, it's Sena Segura has a very competitive price that must be set compared to other solutions. And for example, compared to CyberArk, it only needs a single appliance to run. So you don't you don't need like 6 separate machines to run the solution. So I think that's a good point. And also it doesn't really have a limitation on what system it can run. So basically you could have a private cloud like Azure, AWS or Google Cloud. You can run it on-prem as a virtual machine in any of the known hypervisors, VMware, Hyper-V, or you could run it as a physical machine that's provided by Sena Segura. And also the last option is a SaaS solution hosted by Segura directly. All right, let's go with the big customer. Some general information about them. They are running their SaaS solution by Segura. It's located in Brazil, but I haven't really noticed any latency using it, so it runs very well. They have over 40,000 employees. Of course, not all of them are using the admin Segura, but to get in counter how big they really are. And lastly, they are using everything over single appliance. And the appliance isn't even that spec'd out. It has about 4 CPUs and 8 gigs of RAM. So you can see Segura doesn't need a lot of resources to run properly. It's only part of what we implemented. They had about 2,000 servers and 1,000 users, but with multiple accounts. With multiple accounts, I mean they are going with the route of the personalized users. So they have one normal account, which they use to log into the system itself. And then they have multiple admin accounts that they use to administer their servers. So basically, what we had the challenge to do is get all of those resources into a timely manner. So we had about 1 week of time to get all of those 2 resources into the system. And with Segura, there are 3 options on how it can be done. The first would be the manual process. So filling every single setting in by yourself, it's not really reliable. It's more of when you need to do single changes. The second option would be via an patch import of an Excel file. I'll go in detail a little bit later about that. And the last option is automation. What we ending up doing was over the Excel file, because with the automation, there needs a bit of preparation time that we didn't have, of course, with 1 week. So with the Excel file, you basically get 2 files. These are 2 different Excel sheets. The first one is for the devices and credentials. What's meant with the credentials is every device has a corresponding user assigned to them. So you can't just create a credential without a device. They are always together, basically. And you have here all the fields that are filled into the Segura. And we just did a database pool of all the existing servers and users and just copy and pasted them. And we did like 900 at a time. So it was quite fast doing all of them. We took about 2 days to do all of them. And yeah, above is basically the same just for the users. What's meant with users is basically the users who are done to log into the system itself, Segura. So the next thing that has to be done is basically creating a linkage between the servers and the users. So in Segura, that's done by access group. So basically, you have a role or access group where you can say which user is able to see which server. And there are multiple ways to link them, but what we have found out is the most useful method is a tag-based system, basically. So every server has its unique tag. For example, his own credential name, or then a more overview tag. For example, the networking team has its own tag, and therefore you can assign just the whole network servers or just one. So that's what we ended up doing. And the last thing that we implemented is basically the Ansible automation. This one we did afterwards when we had a little bit more time, so to skip the manual process and just make it more fluently. And I will shortly show you how it's done. So to start, we just log into the Cybersecurity itself. All right, and the script, the Ansible script, is now programmed the way that it can, for existing servers, change their text basically. For this small environment, it doesn't really is necessary, of course, but the customer has a lot of tags. One machine has about 7 or 8 different tags, and doing that for 2,000 servers is not really viable. That's why we went with the script. So you can see there are 2 tags there. And now we just go into the Ansible playbook basically. So just go to the file, and there is some template Excel file in there, and we just put it there. Go into the tag field. The first one is used basically to just locate which server we are going to change, and for this one we are changing the tags. I'm gonna go with demo 1. So just to see that something is changing. And for the other one, we're going with test and 1, 2, 3, 4. Then save that thing. And now we can execute the script. Perfect. And if we refresh here, we can see the tags have changed. What's also can be done with Ansible is basically creating new servers, creating new credentials, updating like we see in here. You can also change specific settings, so there's really any limitations. What also can be used is a scheme, and scheme is used for user groups and access groups automation, and you can do almost the same things as with Ansible, just for another. Yeah. So now we're going with the small customer. Also some general information about them. They went the route with high availability, so they have 3 nodes with a load balancer in place. And also what was special about them, they're not quite big, but they have a lot of external companies who are working with them. So they have, for example, an external IT provider and another company who uses their resources to do their working basically. And some general information about them, they have less than 10 servers, so they're really small. So you can see Cybersecurity can work either on big or really small companies. It doesn't really depend on the size. And they have like 20 internal users, so that wasn't really a big part implementing them. But what they have specially is they are using like 3 different Active Directories from 3 different companies, and you can seamlessly integrate them. The only requirement is that they can talk to each other, so Cybersecurity to the other companies, but afterwards you can integrate as many as you want. And also what they're using is change audit. With change audit, it's basically you can create a time window in the future where a person can access the server. So because this customer has a system in place, so every user needs approval to connect to a server. So with change audit, they can basically allow it in the future. For example, if an update is needed for this time window, they can approve it in future, so no manager or supervisor needs to be online. And also what they're using is automatic password change. How it's implemented is basically every time a user signs in and then logs out of the system, the password automatically rotates, and they also have the setting in place that no user is able to view their password. So really the password is no longer in the hands of the user, and therefore much securer than if it was the other way around. And lastly, before I do another short demonstration, some general things about high availability and in Segura. So they have seamless integration with pretty much all of the load balancers that are available in the market. Neither open source are working or some paid solutions. And the cluster itself is based on MariaDB cluster. And one time I've seen a video of a guy who tried to get them out of sync, and he wasn't able to. He increased the latency, I think up to 2 seconds, and there was no problem with the system. It was running perfectly. All right, then to the final demonstration. What I'm going to show is firstly the password change, how it's in place, and afterwards the change audit. So we are using this user who is set up to automatically change his password. We're just confirming the current one, so it's ending with 6J, or other way around. And now we are logging into the system. There we can select what we want to use. We are going with RAP, of course. All right, we are in the system. Let's log out. Perfect. All right, this is not instant. It takes a few seconds. So we are doing the change audit for now. So we are starting a new request. So we're just giving it a name. I will just continue my naming scheme. Right, then we select a time window today at, let's do 11 o'clock, so we don't need to wait. End time is already today at 12 o'clock. Then we select the access group where it's in place and the device we want to use. We're gonna with remote, and that's just so no script is needed. All right, we save it. Afterwards, the approver or the manager gets an approval request. For this demo environment, it's myself. So I'm just gonna accept it. Perfect, and now we can sign in with the normal user. And we see I have granted him to see all the systems, but if we check with the domain controller, we are not able to log in. You see, even if I type in something here, it's not possible because this access group is only able to connect to systems if the change audit is in place. And we have done it for the remote, so we're trying with this system. And we see now we can type in, but we need justification. That's a requirement. You need to say what you're doing, and afterwards you select the change audit that was just created beforehand, and we can justify and log into the system. This session is now valid for until 12 o'clock, like we said earlier. All right, then going back to the admin so we can check out if the password has changed. All right, we're going to the test 2 and let's use password, and we see it's changed. All right, that would be everything from my part. I would give back to Felipe.
Thank you very much, David. Just as a reminder, password should not be held by anyone. So if you want to really achieve zero trust in that sense, that nobody should own and have a privileged password, it should be hosted by, in this case, Segura. It should be not in anybody's hand to hand over the key to the kingdom. And how we do that, I hand over the key now to Felipe.
Yes, sure. Can you share the screen, please? Yeah. Nice. Great presentation, Dave. And again, thank you so much. And I will just talk something more about, this kind of concept, PAM, or talking more deeply about the future or zero trust. Just briefly information about me. You can go to the next slide. Just a few presentation more in details. So I'm working as a threat research and cybersecurity advocate at Ciência Segura. And I'm responsible not only for, doing new research about threats and how the attacker are using this new techniques to explore environment, but to understand how they are using techniques and to bring new technology inside of the product. I'm advocating part of the security and hacking community. I'm very active in different security conferences like DEF CON, Black Hat, and others conference. And I'm structure, write, and review the main magazines here in Europe. Actually, I'm based in Portugal, but at this moment in Brazil. And yeah, we have I don't know, if you click in the next slide, maybe we can see the pictures. Yeah, we can go the next. Ciência Segura in the next click again. So this is the if you see, and I'm advocate of this main 4 project. Let's say hack is not a crime. The idea is to explain more about the hacking concept. Sneak is a SaaS solution, the open source part, of course, and I'm speaker in there's those 2 main village in DEFCON. And if you see this 3 magazine, Pentest magazine, Hacking and Forensic magazine, I'm structure, writer, and reviewer of those 3 magazines. So if you'd like to share your knowledge, probably I will review these articles, and I have some courses about the attack offensive perspective and defensive perspective. So let's go to the next slide to see more information about Ciência Segura, and this is the idea about our conversation today. So first, I just would like to clarify something about zero trust. So the idea is not about zero trust is not a tool, as Pascal mentioned and the others guy mentioned, is more about the strategy and how you implement in your company, your organization. Because for some reason, some misconception, some companies are using zero trust as a tool, but actually it's not a tool. We can use it based on 3 main pillars, let's say: the users, process, and tools. Tool, of course, is important, but you need to define the real process as you would like to implement in your organization. The second one is a user, because they need to understand this process, and the user need to have, for example, the correct tool to implement the zero trust. That's the idea. So let's go to some principles that I would like to show you. We have 3 main pillars, okay, and after that you have 10 more principles based on that. So the first of all is know your architecture. What does that mean? You can go to the next, click again, and you need to know your infrastructure. You need to know everything that you have, including user, devices, and service, because you are the best person to understand your environment. Of course, I can suggest you my tool. I can suggest a more, procedure, more process, my process, but you know how your infrastructure works, how critical is, how is complexity. So this is one of the principles. The second one, if you see, you need to create a single strong user identity. What does that mean? In your organization, you need to understand how each user need to have a single user, identity, one single strong identity. As Pascal mentioned, and David do a demo, create an individual. And the third principle, if you see, not only about the user, if you go to the third principle, the number 3, so you can go next, is to have you can go next, is create a strong device, because sometimes depends on your organization, you need to have a very strong device. So each device, if it's owned or is attacked, for example, for any threat actors, you need to audit this. You need to be, you need to see how you can see the track, audit this everything. If you go to the number 4, for example, the 4 principles is the next slide. You can see so about authenticate everywhere. What that means? So it's based on the culture of the zero trust. So you should know no trust in everyone, in every people in the organization. I know that's a big one. This word is kind of difficult, but this is the base of the culture of the zero trust. You should authenticate everything, because sometimes when you're implementing zero trust, you think, okay, I have a tool responsible for my networking. So you implement it, for example, VPN or something like this, but for some reason, or the attacker perspective, for example, they just need to attack your third party or your consulting guy, and if they have the access inside of your environment, they can go in the environment. And because of that, you need to authenticate everywhere. You need to check, okay, not only based on the network, but to see the users recording the session, to see the comments and audit the comments. Okay, number 5, principles. If you think so, know the health. That's important, because sometimes we have some legacy applications, legacy device. You need to see the health of your infrastructure, your service, and everything that you have in your organization. That's the number 5. If you go to the number 6 principle, so you can see focus your monitoring on device and service, because if you don't have any visibility of what are happening in your environment, how you can solve this, how you can protect this. If you see, I'm talking about not about tool, but about principles. Remember, you are responsible for your infrastructure. You know your infrastructure better than me, better than Pascal. So you need to understand everything, and after that, you can help you according your pains, according your necessity. So that's important. We need to monitor everything, because if you don't monitor everything, if you suffer some possible suspicious attack, how you can go and to see, to identify, and to mitigate this. Number 7, if you go to the number 7 principle in the next slide, you will see the setting value policy. That is, you need to set a very nice policy for services, data, users, and device. It means that when you implemented this architecture, this culture, or this strategy based on zero trust, you need to have a good policies, because everything, not only on primes or even the cloud, is based on a bunch of permissions, bunch of policies, and you have a user's device, and they need to connect each others, and like a puzzle, and you need to have a good policies between each one. That's important about about zero trust. Number 8 principle, if you go to the next, control access to your services and device. So each request needs to be authorized according your policy. Remember, so in number 7 we talk about the policies. So how you can control it. If you see here, so it's related, it's connected. So if you think now for a moment, if usually when you heard something about a zero trust, in the misconception, as I mentioned in the beginning, is related to a tool, but no, a process, users, and tools, because you need to see how these things works. Because sometimes we try to see some network zero trust platform or something like this, but you think we are talking about identities. So zero trust culture is based on identity. That's the big point here. Zero trust strategy is based on identity. Zero trust architecture is based on identity. So remember that in the end of this conversation. So if we go to the number 9 principle, you can see don't trust in the network, including your local network. Because of that, you need to authenticate everywhere. Remember one of the principles, authenticate everywhere, in order to remove the insider threat, for example. And the last one, principle number 10, if you go, it shows the service design for a zero trust. Remember, this is a 10 principles based on the 3 main pillars. One is process, the second one is user, and the third one is tool. So if you need to choose some service, focus on the organizations that have this kind of culture or this idea that can help you, because again, you know how your architecture works. Nice. Let's go to the next slide so you understand 10 principles, and let's just brainstorm. You can click. This is that we have for nowadays, and if you return, yeah, that's the big view that we have in the past. We should have maybe not should have, but probably you already heard about the insider threat, or in the past we have a privileged access management, more focus on Active Directory. Has Dave showed when the attacker gain the access inside of the Active Directory, they can change passwords, they can infect the machines and something like this. We needed to give the access to the C-level. After the pandemic, we saw the growing of the remote workers, and not only this, but third parties. We have a cloud access, increasing a lot for the last few years, and we need to think, so what would be the risk impact if any identity inside of my company is, exposed to the internet? So let's move to the next slide, because nowadays we have a different challenge. As you can see here, we have a developer team access many applications. We have a DevOps team. We have a database guys. We have a cloud teams, leaders of business units. What does that mean in this specific slide? So it's more complex to manage those things. So remember how is complex to implementing zero trust culture in this complex environment, because you need to give the access to the developer, because the guys are responsible for creating your product, and the DevOps is responsible for automating the process. Database is responsible for supporting those teams, and cloud team is responsible for implementing the architecture. So everything is connected. So everything is based on identity. Remember the principles, and you need to have the user strong, identity strong, and authentic everywhere. It means it is a very big challenge, right? So that's important. You understand that when you create your process, remember the procedure, and after that you can communicate with your users and you can use the correct tool. So now let's go to the next slide, and we will see something about the idea about the culture. So this is the big picture that we can see when you talk about zero trust, because we have users, we have employees in the left side of this in this slide. You have a partners, customer. Some examples that they've showed about some challenges, and the most important, not most, but one of the most important part when you implementing the culture of the zero trust is the context. How you will define some policies like a protocol, credentials, network, devices, locations is a kind of context. Usually when you implement your culture of the zero trust, you need to think about the specifically this column called context, because this is we're using as a proxy responsible for trigger each request, and you need to have, of course, this kind of access intelligence looking from behaviors. So as David showed, you can see the user behavior, you can monitoring everything, and of course after this this lining of a track of the access, you can go to the research depending on your environment, if it's on premise or if it's in the cloud, for example. Let's go to the next slide, and we go to the end of the presentations, and let's talk more about the Senha Segura. This is a big view just to explain the macro view about our products. Okay, so in the left you can see the accounts and session is based on PAM core solutions that they show you. If you see in the demo presentation, it's just in one single console. That's one of the big challenge, benefits that we have in Senha Segura, that you can see in one only platform. That's super nice to talk. And not only this, the implementation is very fast, and our infrastructure is based on Linux. Because of that, it's very cheaper when you compare to another competitors. So you can see other tools like Domo, I will explain more in details, MySafe, and after that we can see the PDM is responsible for elevate privilege in each user. I will explain more. And we see about the DevOps secret manager. What that means that we can, manage the secrets and tokens your CI/CD pipeline. We have solutions in clouds, in multi-cloud environment, and not only this, but we like and we see the other challenge. It means how you manage your certification lifetime. So we have the certification manager. Let's go to each product to very fast to explain the specific module that we have in Senha Segura. Let's go to the next. So this is a simple PAM core. If you see, has, they show you. So first we made the discovery about everything that you have, like, certificates, SSH keys, device accounts. It's very fast and easy to see the full environment scan to identify these identities and provide the right implementations. So if you go to the next, this is the account boarding. The second one is about the user behavior. If you see, is the analytics that we have. You have a machine learning responsible for identifying this kind of behavior. And again, if you see the session proxy is responsible for see, the behavior of the user. And of course, everything that is not expectable, you can, send it to, if it's suspicious, you can send it to some SIEM, for example, to manage your events. So this is a big, of course, overview, not in details. We can explore more because I'm talking about the webinar. Just a simple definitions about the PAM solution. If you go to the next slide, you see one of the big challenges that the company has when they're using, for example, zero trust tools. When you talk about the no VPN, no need more VPN. So this is the Domo, one of our solutions responsible for VPN-less, provide the zero trust based on network. It's a part of one product inside of the PAM. If you see in one single platform, that's the super nice because it's better to manage it, so you can provide the access, for example, for the remote workers and the third party. So that's the big differentiator that you have in this specific product that you can, this is just a name, Domo, but it's basically responsible for provide the access to the third party. So the next slide, you can see the other product that we have is MySafe. This is very nice because, for example, one of the example that Dave showed is about the big companies, and sometimes they don't need to using PAM solutions, I mean privileged access management for everyone. So, but let's suppose the another users that's not too important, let's say, but we need to manage these guys. So you can use MySafe is more for let's suppose that you're working in the hotel, and of course the servers and the financial guys, the DevOps team, needs to have a PAM solution. But let's suppose the reception when you arrive at the hotel, the lady responsible for maybe the check-in, the check-out, maybe this lady no need to have an license. This lady no need to implement in PAM, but they need to protect their passwords. So because of that, we have a MySafe. Okay, so you can manage it in one single platform. That's generate and using randomically this kind of password in a browser extension or something like this. So let's go to the next slide.
You have a question, Philippe, quick? There's
yeah, sure. Go ahead.
In which use cases do you see your solution cooperating with a CM implementation?
So every single module or product that we have, we can use into CM, for example, because all the alerts, all the logs, we can send it to the SIEM, and you can, for example, create some tags in our SIEM, and for some suspicious, you can send to the SIEM. So the use case, you can use whatever you want because you can integrate. Technically, we can set this integration via set, and I don't remember the other name, but you can integrate. It's very simple. You can define this basically, and some common suspicious, for example, you can send this information to the scene. Every log you can send it to the scene, like you can see in this picture, for example, authentications or logs, user behavior. It means, you know, something suspicious or alerts you can send to the scene. That's a point about this.
Regards of time, Philippe, it's only 4 minutes left.
Okay. So you can go for the end of part, just a part of the innovation, I think. So you can go to the next slide. We stop in my safe. You can go. Yeah, this is the one of the part of the innovation. Senha Segura has a group of part of companies. One of this group is a Quicken, is a part of our company responsible for provide, you know, machine learning, Gen AI, and everything related to this. So because of that, our products is involved with innovation. We bring new products or new innovation based not only in technology but based on AI. If you go to the next slide, one of our innovations is based on you can go next, is our proxy DB. It's a super nice project. Before, yeah, is one of our innovation is a proxy DB. If you can go before, yeah, this is a very nice project. So we create based on innovation. So if you see here, database proxy is in the middle of the request. So database is the authentication is based on PAM solution. So this project is inside of the PAM. You don't need to pay; it's free charge. You can use in the last a version of our PAM solution. No one of our competitor has this product. For example, if the database guy, or if he's attacked, for example, suffer some attack, if they try to delete some column, delete something, or delete something unexpected, so we will block. And not only block, but we monitor everything. Okay, so that's one of innovation that we have in our product and differentiate when you compare to another competitors. If you go to the next slide, you just sit or mention at this cloud entitlements. This is another team that we created, is a cloud infrastructure entitlement management. This is a big challenge that we have in cloud, because this is a kind of problem usually the customer share with us about the cloud. So long-term privilege, you know, difficult to manage identities across different clouds providers, right? So sometimes you need to use AWS, GCP, Azure, or Oracle Cloud, or other providers. Is very difficult. This is a big problem. Let's go to the next, Pascal, please.
1 minute.
Yeah. Okay, this is just a simple explanation about how KIM and CSPM works, and I can share after this presentation. I can share the complete presentation. Let's go to the next, just to see, just for the people see the view. This is the challenge that we have when you talk about the cloud infrastructure, about the abuse, you know, audit user privilege. It's quite complicated because, again, remember, more than 10,000 people using cloud. Let's go to the next. So this is a challenge. 1 minute left. And this is the permission in the clouds. It's more than 16,000 permission. Let's go to the next, just to a big view of everyone. That's very complicated to manage those permissions. And basically, this is our solution. So we can collect informations in different cloud providers, different organizations, and to bring you recommendations. That's the idea of this project. And this project, by the way, is free charge. Okay, one of our innovation to build this. So just one more slide, and that's it. This is, I think, is the picture of yeah, that's the picture. So our project, you know, the KIM Cloud Entitlement is responsible to bring this view about how your identity is working in the cloud based on name, groups, policies, you know, service account. You can bring this information, and that's it for my part to finish in the right time. Okay, and we can share in other moments, other things. So if you have any question, I'm here. And not only this, but Pascal has my contact again. You can find me very easily on the internet, and I'm here to help the people if they need anything.
Thank you very much, Felipe. Thanks for the people that still stay 1 minute over the time. So again, Alistair, thanks a lot for the organization. As always, perfectly done. And for the questions that may appear afterwards because of the time, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Okay, so thank you for the interesting content, for the interesting insights, and as said at the beginning, you all get the webinar video as well as all the information sent after the webinar, and you get all the contact details if you have any further questions, and the questions which have been not answered yet will be answered directly by you experts. So thank you very much. So I change again to German. Dankeschön. Danke fürs Dabeisein. Ich darf noch ein bisschen Werbung in eigener Sache auch machen. Als nächstes haben wir nächste Woche unseren Event Future CISO Connection, Future CIO Connections in München. Das erste Mal in Deutschland. An die deutschen Teilnehmer freuen wir uns natürlich, wenn da noch jemand dabei sein möchte. Und sonst in Wien am 18. Juni wieder das Cybercrime Forum. And Felipe, you can join as well, yeah?
Yeah, I was looking very nice. Yeah, yes, I like it.
Ja, thank you. Danke fürs Dabeibleiben so lange und wir sehen uns beim nächsten Webinar wieder. Thank you all. Thank you being part and good morning, Felipe. So to Brazil now, sun is rising, I see. Nearly sun is rising. So
yeah.
thanks for being with us. Dankeschön fürs Dabeisein. Danke, Pascal. Danke, Felipe. Bis bald. Ciao.